Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast. I am Dustin Owen. That man over there, his name is John Coleman, and we are going to light your eyebrows on fire with the content of today's episode. Do you know why we're going to light some eyebrows on fire, JC?
I don't know, but I see 3 books sitting here in front of me on the table, and I'm not in class, so it looks like we're about to learn reading.
It looks like we're going to learn some reading. So here's what happened. True story. I get a message from Vince in Indianapolis.
Shout out, Vince.
Shout out. What up, Vince? And Vince is like, hey, D.O., you should do a whole entire show with Coleman. He was like specific, with Coleman.
Yeah.
Shit only D.O. would say.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea. I don't know if we could put that together quickly. We might have to go through some of our recordings. And
D.O.isms.
D.O.isms, yes.
Okay, yes.
Full disclosure, early on in my sales career, there used to be like a little running joke in the office with like only shit D.O. would say.
Nice.
It wasn't always positive. I think people were laughing at me, not laughing with me.
Correct.
But
Laughing nonetheless.
Vince, I promise in the next 50 episodes.
Okay.
Because we've cranked out over 50 episodes in just 5 months, 6 months, right?
episode 56.
Yeah, we're like 6 months into this.
Yes.
So, Vince, within the next 50, we will do a show that is shit D.O. would say.
Yep.
But similar to Vince, Melissa up in Atlanta was a little bit more reserved in her request.
Okay.
And she says, hey, I listen. I try to tune in as much as possible. Not all of your episodes are great, but most are.
Nice.
That was her words, not mine.
Truthful.
So thank you, Melissa. And you're always referencing books.
Yes.
Books that you've read, books that you recommend, maybe books you don't recommend.
Yep.
How about you just do an episode or a show on books you've read, who the authors are, and why we should read them?
Sounds like a great idea.
So if you'll indulge me,
Okay.
we're going to light some eyebrows on fire.
Let's do it.
Because we're talking about reading. And the first thing I want to disclose, dispel.
Correct.
Okay. You're not going to make it very far, especially with me, because I'll call your bullshit. If you try to be like, hey, D.O., I can't read nonfiction. Because every book that we're talking about, this is not book club. It is. It's book club for business. It's not book club like what you do with your friends while you're drinking wine outside of work.
Correct.
No, these are nonfiction books. These books are business related, entrepreneur related, drive related, self-help related. So they're nonfiction. So I've heard too many times, oh, I can't read nonfiction.
Ah, it's too boring.
I'm like, motherfucker, you can't read? Like, seriously, you can't read? How'd you make it this far in life without being able to read?
No, that's not what I meant. What I meant was I don't like reading nonfiction.
Or you don't want to.
Yeah, better yet, I don't want to read nonfiction.
You don't want to read. So then let's call it like it is. You don't want to. You're not willing to put in the time or the effort.
Correct.
All right. So I call bullshit because I wasn't always a reader. I was an average at best student. I have taught myself to read, and I started with just 10 pages a night.
That's one of my questions. What kind of reader are you? Because I was like, the best part for me when I read a book, if I read a book, is turning the page. Because I get something like, all right, I'm making it somewhere. But
10 pages a night.
Okay.
If you can do 10 pages a night, most of these books, although when you flip through them, they're like 250 pages. Don't let that freak you out.
Scares me.
Do this. See how many pages are references, appendix, acknowledgments.
Okay.
What you realize is a 250-page book is probably like 210 actual pages of reading.
Sounds like my essays in college. A lot of fluff.
A lot of fluff. There you go. And that'll actually be a little bit less daunting when you realize that book is, I don't know, 2/3 of what it actually is in terms of what you have to read.
Yep.
And then you break it out in 10 pages at a time. And then dedicate that you're going to do this every single night, because if you do, you'll read a book a month, a little bit over a book a month, right? Okay. A book every 21 days, really and truly. And if you read a book a month for just 6 months, you read 6 books. John Coleman, I'm going to ask you, if you read 6 books between now and, I almost said spring break like we're still in college, but between now and March 15th,
yeah,
how does that measure up to the books you've read over the past 5 years? Like, would that have doubled?
I would say exponentially, probably quadrupled.
Okay, yeah. So you've read one book in the past 6 years.
Probably 1 to 2 books.
Okay, cool. So did I.
Yeah.
I was just right there.
Yeah.
Right. So now the only difference is I always wanted to be a reader. Like I admired people who read.
Correct.
But I just I'm the guy who went out and bought the book.
Never read them.
Never read it.
If they're collection items to me, I would go to Barnes & Noble. I love Chris' book. Smells great. 3 pages in, toss it away. But I never threw them away. But
Are you one of those weirdos that loves the smell of the inside of a book?
I love the way it smells.
Yeah. To me, that's like rubber cement. I love the way of rubber cement.
Rubber cement.
Yeah, rubber
they
cement.
huff that. It's glue. They huff that stuff. But like that, I like gasoline. I like the way Home Depot smells. I like fresh lumber.
I would say Home Depot, which department?
As soon as you walk in.
The lumber department. You walk in the lumber department.
As soon as those double doors open up, I love that smell.
I got to work at a Home Depot lumber department in college.
What was that like? They paid good back in the day.
That's why I took the job. So I was working at a pharmacy back in the day. They're no longer around. It's called Eckerd Pharmacy. CVS bought them out.
Correct.
And I was making $5.15 an hour.
Yo.
And someone told me, like, my parents' friend's son was older. He worked at Home Depot. They paid $7 an hour. And I was like, I'm making $5.15.
Yo, I remember if you got a job at Home Depot or Lowe's back in the day, you were balling.
Yeah. Yep. And that's literally what I did. And I worked there part-time all through college. I was able to invest in the 401k as a part-time associate. I was able to do the employee stock purchase plan as a part-time associate.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Practice.
So shout out to Home Depot.
Shout out to Home Depot on that rabbit hole we went down.
Yeah, exactly. So back on the books.
Yes.
All right. So 10 pages a night.
Yep.
And I did the whole 10 pages a night because that was also part of 75 Hard. So if you've been listening to most of the episodes, we've referenced the Mental Discipline Challenge 75 Hard.
Yep.
I'm actually day 27, doing it again, trying to do it again. I've tried to do it 2 other times and failed.
Okay.
So I did it once, succeeded, tried it twice, bailed out on both of them. I think I'm going to make it through this time because I'm on day 27.
Solid.
At this point, I'm gonna make it.
Sure. Nice.
Yep. So, in order, I have 5 books that we're gonna review.
Okay.
Book review with Coleman and Dio.
Love it.
Okay. And I'm gonna do them almost in order.
Okay.
Right. So I saw where you recently did some playlists for us on the YouTube channel. Yeah. So check out the YouTube channel, folks. We have really cool playlists that are categorized based on what it is that you're trying to achieve. Basically, lumping like episodes together.
Correct.
The 5 books in order.
Okay.
I would start with Atomic Habits by James Clear.
You've been pumping that
Dude,
a lot lately.
Yes. Well, I just finished it, but I finished it. I gave it to my wife. She finished it.
Wow.
And in return, our son is going to read it. At least he promised me, our 15-year-old.
Family heirloom now.
And look, James Clear as an author, why it resonates with me is he is in his 30s. And he speaks not old and crotchety. He speaks fairly in tune and hip. And everything that he is teaching is how to create positive, influential habits in your life. But Atomic Habits, the reason why I think it's the first book people should read, especially if you're not a consistent, avid reader, is it teaches you how to put one foot in front of the other. It teaches you how to create good habits that'll make you a more successful person that will last you a lifetime. And throughout the book, he James Clear, the author, ties in real life examples. So he talks about the difference between an Olympian and a non-Olympian has nothing to do with raw talent. Like obviously for an Olympian, raw talent gets you to where you are on the cusp of making it as an Olympian, right? In order to be an Olympian, you have to have raw talent. But there are many, many folks who have superior talent that never make it to be an Olympian. And he says an Olympian becomes an Olympian because at some point in their athletic career, they have been able to habitually train and accept training even when training becomes boring. So they have developed the habits that whether the training is exciting to them or if it's boring as hell, it doesn't matter. They're still going to do it.
Gotcha.
So it talks about if you want to become a reader. Okay, don't say, I'm going to read this book this week.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Say, I'm going to read 10 pages a night. Let's say you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't like what you see. You want to make a transformation. Maybe it's because you went to the doctor tells you have high blood pressure, you're going to have to go on cholesterol medicine, what have you. Maybe it's just because it's aesthetics and you're as vain as you and I are combined and you just don't like the way you look and you want to look differently. He says when you exercise and when you diet, and let's say exercise specifically, don't make exercising about how you look as soon as you finish. If you do, you're setting yourself up for failure because no one works out once, looks in the mirror and says, oh my God, I look amazing.
I know.
Make exercise about how it makes you feel when you're done, knowing that if you consistently exercise every single day, that after a certain time period, you'll turn around and you'll see a different person in the mirror.
Absolutely.
So those are part of setting atomic habits. Some other things that he discusses in the book, Atomic Habits, and there's 4 levels. And I don't want to ruin the book because I want you to go out and buy the book and I want you to read the book. But in the book, it spells out everything from changing your environment. So sometimes when you're trying to create a new habit, it's about surrounding yourself with people that maybe already live a lifestyle where that habit is being done. So an example he gives, and I love this story, it's talking about our soldiers in Vietnam in the 1970s and the percentage of them that used heroin. And there's a large percentage used heroin. Yet when they came back to the States, something like 90% quit using heroin.
Kick the habit.
All because they changed their environment.
Ah.
Because if you look at heroin and opioid statistics here in the U.S., only like 25% are ever able to kick the habit. And the reason why, they don't change their environment.
Makes sense.
It's the whole adage of, you are the company you keep.
Yep.
If you want to become a healthier person, if you want to run marathons, if you want to do triathlons, then maybe join a club and start hanging out with people who do that. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, go places where successful entrepreneurs hang out.
Makes sense.
And feed off of them.
Yeah.
So that's the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. Obviously, that is a tiny little snippet of what it is, but it is the first book I would recommend anyone read before we get on to the others. And by the way, I'm gonna spotlight 5 books.
Okay.
There's way more than 5 books. These are just the 5 that came to mind today when you and I discussed doing this based on Melissa's recommendation from Atlanta.
Sounds good.
All right, so the next book. So you finished Atomic Habits. Great. Atomic Habits is going to allow you to make small changes to your life that will end with even greater changes over time. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss.
Okay.
By far one of my favorite books I've read.
All time?
All time.
Okay.
All time. So what I like about Chris Voss, the author, is that he's a blue-collar guy who ends up matching wits with Harvard and MIT professors. People who teach at some of the most prestigious universities skills on sales and negotiating. A blue-collar street cop from Missouri has the ability to actually match wits and out-negotiate them.
Like debate club type stuff?
Like debate club type stuff. Although Chris Voss professionally ended up being the FBI's #1 hostage negotiator.
No way.
But he's blue collar. So it wasn't like he was this MIT, Harvard intellectual type. No, he was a street cop who had to fight his personal story. He had to fight and claw and work to even be looked at by the FBI because the FBI first laughed at him. But what Chris does in Never Split the Difference is he teaches the reader how to negotiate. How to negotiate whether you're a parent talking to your child, whether you are a spouse talking to your significant other, whether you're in business and you are trying to land that multi-million-dollar deal, or whether you're going to the used car lot trying to buy a car.
My ears are perked now. Tell me everything you got. Tell me what he teaches you because I want to learn how to negotiate.
Yeah, read the book. Read the book, 10 pages a night. But this is a book that what I love is that he teaches the subject and then ties it into a cop story, to an FBI story. So if you're a person who likes watching shows like CSI or Without a Trace or Profiler, like, yeah, this book is really cool and interesting. And oh, by the way, you're going to learn these life skills. This to me is a book that I need to read again. And there's very few books that I've said, oh, I need to read it again.
I've very rarely heard you say that.
Yep, this is a book that I need to go back and read it again. And without giving away too much, here's the one thing that I carried with me from like the first week I was into reading it and still today, almost a year later after reading it.
Okay.
And it's the phrase, how am I supposed to do that?
How am I supposed to do that?
If you ever want to win a negotiation, how am I supposed to do that?
I usually say that when my wife asks me to do something I don't want to do.
Yeah, how am I supposed to do that? Hey, honey, I hear what you're saying. And you're saying, so you're in mirror. These are all things that, by the way, are taught in Chris's book. But you're going to repeat back to her what she said. So I'm hearing this. You want me to do this, but still do Y while still doing X.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to do that?
I can't clean the dishes if I'm busy playing Xbox.
Yes.
Are you?
Well, no, not like that. Say, I need to play Xbox.
Yeah.
Because Xbox does X for me, Y for me.
Yeah,
It makes me feel a certain way. I understand you want me to do the dishes. How am I supposed to do that?
Interesting.
Her goal is probably going to be, well, how about if I do half and then you do half when you're playing Xbox? Okay, maybe you found a compromise right there. But the title never split the difference. And by the way, I bastardized that. I'm not Chris Voss. I've not studied what he has studied. But in a nutshell, that was really cool. Like thinking of ways that the phrase, how am I supposed to do that? How it could help you be non-confrontational as well as elicit the response you want.
Yeah.
I mean, he talks about talking in your late night radio DJ voice, because if I talk to you like this and I'm trying to get something out of you, you're not going to see me as a threat.
No, I'll be like, wow.
So changing your voice inflection.
Yeah.
But the book itself never split the difference. What he means by that, it doesn't mean don't compromise.
Okay.
But let's talk about certain times in life where splitting the difference doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Let's use you and your wife. You're going out to a big event. It's for her employer. You're getting dressed and you want to wear brown shoes. She wants you to wear black shoes. Okay. So if you compromise there, you would end up going to her work event in one brown shoe and one black shoe. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So you sometimes can't split the difference in life.
Okay.
Because you get an outcome that makes nobody happy
Yeah.
and is equally, it's triple horrendous as to what it would have been whether you were all black or all brown shoes.
Yeah, makes sense.
So Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. That's book number 2.
Okay.
Now at this point, we've kind of gone business heavy,
Yeah.
right? Or personal development heavy, mental stuff.
Yep.
Let's get off of that.
Okay.
Okay.
Harry Potter?
No.
I'm playing.
Let's go inside
Okay.
our bodies. Let's think about things like heart disease and cancer.
Okay.
And let's start living a healthier lifestyle.
Okay.
So something that my wife is, a certain book my wife's been asking me to read for the past 3 to 5 years is a book by the name of, the author is Michael Pollan, and the book is In Defense of Food.
In defense of food.
N-I-N.
Okay,
In defense, like you're
defense.
defending
Okay, gotcha.
food.
Okay.
In defense of food.
Okay.
Okay, and it basically says, eat food, not too much, mostly plants.
That's it.
And it's only 200 pages, and it'll be a nice breakup after you've done Atomic Habits and Never Split the Difference to really start focusing on the things we put in our body, because a healthier body leads to a healthier mind, right? The more energy, the less lethargic we are, the more focus we have to achieve certain aspects.
Correct.
Well, when you study what Michael Pollan is writing about, he's writing about the Western diet sucks. And it's statistically proven the Western diet is one that those that follow it have way more heart disease. They have more cancer than any other diet out there. And big business is to blame. Nutritionism is to blame. But what's really cool about the book when you go to finish it, and by the way, the reason why I read it is because I convinced my wife to read Atomic Habits.
Oh, true.
If
Okay.
if I would read In Defense of Food.
Ah.
Yep.
Never split the difference. See?
Yeah. On that one, we split the difference. But I love the book so much. I'm thinking about buying too many, quote unquote, and leaving some in the break room.
Oh.
Because he talks about like certain principles. If you want to eat healthy, quit overthinking it. It's not about this particular diet and that diet, macros and macros, and this one's South Beach and this one's Atkins and this one is name one of the newest trendy diets right now, the Subway diet,
What do you call that thing? Keto.
Keto diet. Yes. Throw all that out the window. Okay. And just do this. As the book says, eat. Well, I'm trying to read it. Like, I don't want to screw it up. Eat food, period.
Okay.
Not too much, mostly plants.
That's
So in the book, here's what and look, it gets real sciencey and real detailed, but he keeps it real for the most part. If you're eating foods that are packaged, you're probably already stepping in the wrong direction.
But it's so easy and convenient for me.
If you're picking up a packaged food and it has more than 5 ingredients, you're probably stepping in the wrong direction.
But I need to cook for my kids. I don't have that much time.
It's interesting you say that. You don't have that much time. But if by eating healthy allowed you to extend your healthy life, not your life. There's many people due to medicine that live a long life, but 20 of those years are freaking unhealthy and they're propped up by medicine and chemicals. If you are able to extend your life, more importantly, your children's lives, by 6 years, because you took the extra 20 minutes or 40 minutes to properly prepare and shop for the right foods, isn't that a fair trade-off?
I can't see the tree through the forest, Dustin. That's a long time away.
Yeah.
But then when they
Bullshit,
they get there, they're like, God damn it.
Yeah, why didn't I? Don't be Steve Jobs, right? We all have seen the image of Steve Jobs the last month of his life going through his third bout of chemo or radiation, and he has this big epiphany that it wasn't about. It wasn't about all the things he thought life was about.
Yep.
Don't be that person that when you're 65 and you can't get around because you're on all these medicines for diabetes and high blood pressure and cholesterol, that you should be 65 and dominating life. You should be 75 and dominating life. So when you say, I don't have the time, please change that verbiage from I don't have the time to I'm not willing to make the time to shop for and prepare these foods. So just so I can get off of Michael Pollan and In Defense of Food, let me just kind of lay out some of these teasers to make you want to pick up the book.
Okay.
When you walk into your supermarket, for us in the Southeast, Publix is where it's at.
Yep.
When you walk into Publix, shop the perimeter. Think about most supermarkets. The perimeter is where all the produce is, and the meats are, and the cheeses are. Shop it. The minute you start getting in the inside, you find packaged, processed. Something else he says, if you can't pronounce the ingredients, you don't eat it.
What do you mean dinitrilhydrochloroside is not good for me?
Yeah, no. There's nothing. And by the way, fats are good for you. You know that? Fats are good for you. And you want to talk about like tying it all together. So right now, one of my favorite shows, TV-wise, is on History Channel. Although I'm watching it literally some on Netflix, some on History Channel, and I think some on Hulu.
That's the world we live in today.
Yes. But it's called Alone. And Alone's a show about survivalists. Yep. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you watch Alone, you would think that the lady who has her trap lines out and is catching 2 to 3 rabbits a week is going to be totally healthy and totally full because of all that meat sustenance she's able to put in her body. Well, how about a little bit of a buzzkill here? No, she almost dies because she doesn't have enough fat in her diet. Right? So too many times we've let business affect our mindset and we buy things that are low cal, low fat. And it's like, no, you need fat in your diet. These are all things that Michael Pollan talks about and teaches, especially omega-3 fat. But the problem is with processed foods, omega-6 fat is what you end up with 10 times the amount that you need without enough omega-3 fat to counterbalance the two, all because business was trying to find a way to A, make your food sweeter, and B, allow it to sit on shelves longer without going sour, without rotting.
Yeah.
So that's the book, but it's a must read for anyone who is serious about becoming healthier. And it's if you read that after you read Atomic Habits, you'll learn that through Atomic Habits, it's not all or nothing in life. Right? Doing something for 2 minutes a day is better than not doing it at all. If you want to write a book, maybe you dedicate 2 minutes a day to writing. Because if you wrote 2 minutes a day every single day this year, you'd have written more words and become a better writer than had you waited for that moment when you had a whole weekend and a great idea. Right? So that's why I stagger these books in the way that they are. So the third book, In Defense of Food by Michael Pollan. All right. Fourth book, then we go on the fifth book, and then we'll get off to the episode.
Okay.
All right. Subtle Art of Not Giving a
Nice.
Mark Manson. Manson like Charlie, but way cooler.
Nice.
Killed way less people.
Okay.
Mark's a younger dude too.
Okay.
So he speaks to a younger audience. He utilizes pop culture in his writing, and it's a super easy read. It's very entertaining, but although it says the subtle art of not giving an F, what you learn by reading it is we give the wrong Fs, which then prevents us from getting the right Fs in life, right? So you always heard, oh, I don't give an F. Well, maybe you should. So one of my favorite lessons for me, particular me, who naturally, for whatever reason, I have needed and felt the desire to be the center of attention. I want to be able to walk in a room and all eyes on me. Yeah. I need to be liked by everyone. And in the book, he basically teaches me that, A, I'm giving the wrong Fs. And I'm giving the wrong Fs, and he goes on to detail that I am playing a game that I can't win. And the reason why I can't win the game is I don't get to make the rules. The people who are already in that room get to make them. And I don't get to pick my opponent, nor do I know who my opponent is, because my opponent, if I'm playing a game and I'm trying to win, has already been predetermined. So the rules change. I don't know them. I can't make the rules, and I'm playing against an opponent that I don't know. I can't prepare for. So Dustin is given the wrong Fs in that situation. My goal when I enter that room is not to be liked by everybody. I need to set a new goal. And my goal should be to have meaningful conversations with as many people to figure out who's intriguing to me or who finds me interesting. But never, so, I kind of set the wrong goal. So Subtle Art of Not Getting an F, Mark Manson, Manson, is book number 4. Then I had to throw in like an oldie but a goodie.
Okay.
Right? So hopefully, if you're listening this far into this podcast, you know or have heard of John Maxwell. Yeah. John C. Maxwell, #1 New York Times bestselling author, like 2,700 times over. But his book, The 5 Levels of Leadership, it's a damn good book.
Is it?
Especially if you are a leader of an organization, a leader of a team. It's a must read. It's a must read. It breaks down to you, the reader, the 5 levels or the 5 steps that it takes to be a leader. Like level 1 is pretty easy to achieve.
What's that?
Someone threw manager on your name badge.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're a good leader. Doesn't mean people want to follow you. It just means you are one because someone anointed it. It could have been you because you started the company and you called yourself president and CEO.
Nice.
It could have been because you drew the short straw and you play golf with your current supervisor and no one else wanted the job, right? But that, it talks about that is level 1. And then it talks about then, what does it mean to get to level 2? What does it mean to get to level 3? What does it mean to get to level 4? And then by level 5, and he'll teach this to you in the book, that is unicorns and rainbows. So few get to level 5. Level 5 is where you have not only graduated from level 1, then achieved level 2, then level 3, then level 4. 5 means that you've now recreated yourself multiple times over. Gremlin effect.
Jesus.
Remember that movie, The Gremlins?
Yeah, when they splash water on them.
Yeah. Except for this, level 5 may take someone decades. They may never achieve it. They may be the most badass level 4 leader the rest of their life, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because at level 4, you have gained the respect of those that you follow. People follow you because they want to, not because they have to. You have the production and the results to warrant respect from your peers. Like, that's a certain component of level 4. You get to level 3, you're at a point where not only are you leading people who want to follow you, but you have production. Production is basically the proof's in the pudding. Look at the numbers. Yeah. But John Maxwell, 5 Levels of Leadership, I think it's a great one. If you're trying to read 5 books over the next 5 months, it gives you a really good variety and not all the same type. Because quite honestly, you start reading a lot of these books and they're very similar. Yeah. And I'm trying to keep away from that with these recommendations. Yeah. But that's it. That is shit Dio has read that he recommends you read too. Call it Book Club with the Loan Officer Podcast.
I like it.
Yeah. But there you go, guys. Melissa, thank you for that great idea. He's John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. This is and always will be the Loan Officer Podcast. We appreciate you tuning in. Please give us a review, share this, and tell your friends about us. And we We'll catch you on the flip side.
Deuces.